If you've ever found yourself wondering if you're chasing the right thing or asking yourself, why is it so freaking hard to do the work that I'm supposed to do, then this video might be for you. Because in this video, what I'm going to try to talk about is basically the concept of chasing false goals and how easy it is nowadays to just fall into chasing something that's really not meant for you, feeling unfulfilled, and at the end of the day, not achieving what you set out to do. And also, even worse than that, is actually achieving the goal and then feeling absolutely nothing. So in this video, I'm going to try to dive into that topic, the things that I've learned about it, and my own personal journey through figuring out which goals are right for me and which ones are really just not meant for me. So let's start by defining what exactly is a false goal. And so it's essentially a goal that you set for yourself, or a task or a path that you choose in your life, where it just doesn't seem to feel right. Everything just seems to feel slow. You tend to have to force yourself to do the work. You go up and you try to do whatever the task is that you're supposed to do. And you just feel this huge amount of inertia to just get yourself to do something very simple. And then you end up, usually the pattern goes, you end up not wanting to do the thing that you're supposed to do, then forcing yourself to do it, hating it even more. And then that feedback loop continues and you don't feel fulfilled at all. And if this sounds like a problem that you probably dealt with, then you should probably stick around, because I'll explain exactly how these come about, why they are so tricky to figure out, and then what you can do about them to actually just fix that problem. So I'm going to start this off by just explaining a personal story about like how I fell into a false goal, or a sort of a false goal, and why these are so hard to catch, especially nowadays because of the things that we tell ourselves. So I had this idea for a coding project, maybe I think it was a year and a half ago. It was using large language model, and I was like, okay, this is a really good idea. It sounds like it would make a lot of money. It also has an interested target audience. And I was like, this is a good idea. This is something that would make money. And so this is mistake number one. You can already tell. And so I started this coding project. I started setting everything up. And if anyone knows anything about coding, it takes a while to get started. And then once you start going, then it becomes easier and easier, because essentially the beginning with all the setup work and all of that is much harder. And then when you get to like 3-4 months in, then it becomes easier because you're building the features slowly one by one by one. And so I started this coding project almost a year and a half ago. Although it was a good idea, although it had the legs to be something really big, I never really felt passionate about it. It was not an area that I was really interested in. It was not something that I felt connected to. It was not really like something that I had a genuine interest in. And because of this, even though I like programming, even though I like building things, it was always hard for me to do this work. And so a few months go by, I had made some progress, and I kept telling myself, I need to do it. I need to keep doing the work. I need to continue trying to do it. And I would just force myself and tell myself, hey, you've already come this far. You can't quit now. You got to keep going. You can't stop now. And so it's this like feedback loop where I was trying to convince myself that this is the goal for me. And then also the atmosphere that we live in these days, especially online with all the motivational stuff, is just like, if you don't stick through the hard stuff, then who are you really, right? If you don't get through the grind and suffer through the grind, then are you really like worth it? Like, are you even doing anything that's worth it? And so you're told, especially online these days, that everything needs to suck. You need to get through the suffering to get to the goal on the other side. And so I kept telling myself this, kept forcing myself to work, and eventually I just like had no passion. And basically 1.5 years passed by, and I didn't really make much progress. I didn't really feel fulfilled, even though I would hit a goal or like build something new. It wouldn't really connect, because at the end of the day, this entire project, this entire goal started off without any sort of heart connection. And pretty much you can spend your entire life chasing the wrong thing, chasing the wrong career, chasing the wrong projects, chasing the wrong relationships. And then at the end of the day, realize that, wow, this isn't really what I wanted at all. Another great example of this is if you guys watched the recently released interview with Tony Robbins and Alex Hormozi. You can see that, and I highly recommend it. You can see that Alex comes into that interview and he's like, I've done all this stuff. I've hit all these goals. I've been immensely successful, but I just don't feel connected to what I'm doing. And Alex comes into that interview, I think, saying a quote that goes something along the lines of like, find a goal worth suffering for. And you can see Tony Robbins completely say, fuck that. You don't need to find a goal worth suffering for. You can find a goal that's worth living for, right?
So from the suffering perspective, I find that really interesting because passion comes from the Latin passio, right?
Yes.
Which means suffering or to endure.
Yeah, I know.
And so that made actually a tremendous amount of sense for me. I actually reframed that whole concept as like, find a goal worth suffering for.
Again, I'm not pretending to have the answer for you, but I'm
I'm
just giving my 2 cents because you're asking
I'm
me,
open.
right?
Yeah, I'm
Because I
open.
want to see more of that smile that I
Yeah.
see in you right now. But what happened is you're so in your head. So even think of what you did, like a goal worth suffering for. Fuck that. I mean, I don't have goals that I'm worth suffering for. No, don't get me wrong. Every day is not like pure bliss. But when you make it your goal to find a goal worth suffering for, you're gonna suffer.
Yeah.
This part of you is so strong, brother. This part of you is too, but this is the lead right now. If you change the lead to here by that sense of connection and everything else, and get the hell out of your head.
And so that whole interview is actually this dichotomy between these false goals. And so I highly recommend watching that as well, because that really connects the points that I'm talking about in this video. So now that you kind of know what a false goal is, I'm going to go to this concept that I learned from one of my favorite books. So this comes from a book called Reality Transurfing. And essentially it says that you yourself, as a person on this planet, has your own unique door. You have your own unique things you can provide to the world, or essentially create in the world, that are unique to you and your abilities. Some people are just really good at math. Some people are just really good at art. You have your own unique abilities. And what happens to us is essentially we end up falling into the trap of pursuing other people's doors. We just follow the thing because society tells us to do it, or because, your parents led you down this path, or it was the education system, or whatever. You can name 100 different things, but essentially we end up following through these other doors that are not really ours, and we end up feeling unfulfilled, unhappy, and at the end of the day just live a life that's just meaningless. And it's your job essentially to go through life and to figure out, what is it that I should actually be doing? What is it that I enjoy doing? Find your door, and then what you'll find is that things come to you effortlessly. You don't really need to force yourself to work. You just kind of can do the work. And you just show up and you can do 11, 12 hours of work, and it just doesn't feel like work. It actually feels like enjoyment because you're enjoying yourself. You're genuinely passionate about what you can do. So now you know that there's these things called false goals. You know it's easy to fall into them and to follow these false goals and to keep tricking yourself that you're doing something that's not really meant to you. And so how do you actually go about figuring out what you want to do? Like, how do you figure out what you want to do with your life? What is the goal that you're going to chase? How do you find your true door that you need to walk through? And so this is probably the biggest question that you can ask yourself in life, is how do you figure out what to do? And so there's no real single answer to this. It's not like one day you figure it out and then you go, well, I got it now. Like, I know what my door is. I think this is something that changes over the course of your life. And I guess what I can do is leave some tips on how I went about thinking about this. And the trick is really to figure out what you enjoy doing. I know that sounds so simple, but like, when your mind is sort of in a neutral state and you're not like scrolling Instagram reels, when your mind is in a neutral state, what is a voice in the back of your head telling you to do? Is it telling you, hey, go pick up that musical instrument that you want to play all this time and try to do this? Is it telling you to go build something? Is it telling you to go, interact with other people, to go teach a class? And so you can find, if you listen to your thoughts, what you'll find is it'll tell you what you enjoy doing. So that's the first thing, is listening to your internal thoughts in the back of your head, especially those inclinations that just sort of come to you naturally of like, hey, I should go try this thing. I should go do this thing. The second thing is things that come to you effortlessly. Like, think back to the different projects that you've done, the different work that you've done. Which parts of that work did you really enjoy? Did you find completely effortless, where you could just show up and do the thing, and then it just felt like it was just easy to do? I'll give you an example. I personally really like coding. I like building stuff. I don't really enjoy selling. I don't really enjoy pitching things to people. I don't really enjoy consulting work. And so I much more rather build something. That part comes to me effortlessly, whereas the other stuff I need to put more effort in. And it's not like you can't do it. It's not like you can't learn the skill that's hard. That's not the point. But the other part is actually closer to what you're naturally inclined to do. That's where your skills are. And that's probably closer to your true goal. Another question that you can ask yourself is, what did you enjoy as a kid? Did you enjoy building stuff? Did you enjoy doing music? Did you enjoy painting? Did you enjoy athletics and sports? The last thing is like, also look at what type of characters that you're drawn to in TV shows. Whenever you watch a movie or a TV show, which character do you feel mostly drawn to, right? Like, what is their energy? What is it about them that like you feel personally connected to? And that will also give you an inclination into like, okay, I like that type of person because they exhibit this behavior, because I feel like I should be like them. And again, I think the main point that I've learned over the past few years is really you can't figure this out in like one go. It's not like you're just gonna spend 30 minutes thinking about this and then eventually you're just gonna have a eureka moment and then just know what you're going to do with for the rest of your life. This is sort of something where you need to kind of figure out in parts, and it's okay to try a bunch of different things and figure out, okay, do I like doing this or no, do I not like doing this? And then you can figure out, okay, which one do I align closely to, and then move towards that direction. I think the biggest thing is like people try a lot of stuff, but they trick themselves, just like I did, to basically stay in that thing because it's the only thing that you know, even though it doesn't feel right. But yeah, so to sum this up, basically you want to watch out for these false goals. You don't want to be doing something where you need to constantly convince yourself that this is the thing to do, or you need to constantly force yourself that this is the task that needs to be done or the task that's worth suffering for, right? It needs to come effortlessly for the most part. Obviously, there's going to be hard portions of it, but you actually need to enjoy the work and you need to feel it sort of in your heart. And yeah, if you can find the thing that you're good at, whether it's music or whatever, what you'll find is that the world will sort of change for you. And I know that sounds a little bit woo-woo, but basically like things will just start flowing naturally for you. And you'll find it like easier to just basically like land a client. Like boom, you send 3 emails and wow, you got a client immediately. And guess what? That might be a sign that that's actually closer to what you should be doing in the first place. But yeah, I hope you guys like this video. I'm going to be posting more on this channel with just different little rants like this on things that I learned, sort of off the cuff, not much editing. And so if you like this content, feel free to leave a like and let me know what you think in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.